Hey, entrepreneurs, are you trying to make bigger profit in your small business? If you're like most of us business owners, increasing your profitability is always on your mind. And you're probably looking for ways to grow your revenue while growing your company as well. Well, you found the podcast that shares ideas to help you do just that. I'm Marcia Reiner. I'm a business growth strategist. I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees increased profitability, guides your growth, and plans for a future exit. Because building a highly profitable and sale-ready business creates a win-win scenario. That's more money now and a windfall later, whenever that is, the time that you want to let go of the company. And I want to share strategies that I've learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. But hey, before we get started, I've got some exciting news to share. I've just launched a super powerful training called the 30-Day Profit Booster, where I will show you how you can get a 45% boost in your net profit in just 30 days. Hard to believe, huh? Just follow the simple 3-step method that doesn't require chasing more customers. This quick and easy profit boosting strategy can be done without spending more money on marketing, hiring additional staff, or working longer hours. Go check it out at 30dayprofitbooster.com for more information. All right, so you've heard the phrase, right? If you've been living under a rock, you know about AI. So Matt Swalley is the co-founder and chief business officer of Omneky, an AI marketing platform that generates and optimizes personalized ad creatives to increase sales across all digital touchpoints. Powered by OpenAI's GPT-3, DALL-E 2, and their own proprietary algorithms, Omneky's platform empowers customers to analyze design preferences of all the customers in their target audience, manage thousands of AI-generated ads designed to drive conversions for each customer profile. Yes, Matt brings 13 years of strategic leadership experience from AT&T, where he specialized in corporate strategy, business development, and sales team growth. As a member of the corporate strategy team for AT&T, Matt led various strategic initiatives, financial planning, go-to-market, and analysis. Matt held the leadership position as chief of staff for AT&T Global Business Segment and directed sales teams in small business, mid-market, and mid-market enterprise accounts. Matt has an undergraduate degree from the Kelley School of Business in Indiana University and an MBA from Wharton College of Business at the University of Florida. Matt, I'm so excited to have you today on Profit with a Plan podcast.
Marcia, I am so excited to be here, and hello to all the listeners out there.
Awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, I use the term, right? Because, and we talked about this a little bit on camera. It's like literally, if you have been living under a rock, then you don't know about all the AI craziness that's going on. But what attracted me to you guys and your idea here was that you can use it for your ads and make running ads to attract more clients a heck of a lot easier. And the conversions go through the roof, right? I mean, this is insane.
Right. So what's the biggest problem for business owners out there? It's when you have limited resources or a changing environment or news coming up, getting creative efficiently at a lower cost that's more effective. And that's really the business problem that Omneky is solving. Is you can view like data and analytics, like why people are clicking, and use technology to help figure out what's the value prop that's in that across all the different people looking at it. And then you can use these generative AI tools that Omneky has built into their platform to move really fast and create creative that used to take days or weeks. You can do it now in minutes or hours. It's just crazy. And it's just like we discussed earlier, Marcia, it's like rapid acceleration of tech right now, and so many people out there learning from it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And for listeners that don't know, one of the biggest challenges for running advertising, paid advertising campaigns, that would be like your Facebook ads or your Google ads or Instagram or YouTube or LinkedIn or whatever everybody is doing, right? The challenge always becomes in how you're looking for data, and that data can take 30 days or a deep pocket, and you're looking for that data to be able to validate that you're on the right path. And I think what you've just created here is a shortcut, right?
Right.
Your tool helps us do that, which is like mind blowing for me because it can be so expensive to try it on your own.
In what's changing through everyone that's advertised over the years is you used to be able to really target, get really granular with who you want to go have see your ad, right? And today, personal information requirements are restricting it more and more. So like you used to
Yeah.
be able to do all these different criteria. Now it's like the platforms keep all this information. Like Facebook, for example, they can't share anything with really like any personal information because of the requirements. So now they're making it so the platform is what distributes it. They know what Marcia likes or an end user likes, and they will show you something because they believe it's a good fit. So now creative is the firepower. So like it recognizes, just like how our platform does, what's in the creative, and then it sends it to someone if they believe it's a good fit. So if you don't have the right type of creative, you are putting yourself at a huge disadvantage.
And costing yourselves a lot of money doing it wrong, right? Wondering,
Right.
why does this not work? So this is fantastic. Okay, so we know that the AI, phenomenon of testing it, hey, how do you get the right answer you're looking for, and so on. Do we have to really be able to understand the process to be able to make it work, or is there an easier method?
So when you come to Omneky, you don't have to understand the process, right? Because we're using these tech tools and figuring out how to build them in and command the technology to do certain things. Now, we discussed earlier, everyone's using these tools. And what's the biggest challenge from before AI was to where it is today to after is the fact that you used to be able to have to think through on your head, design it on a canvas, right? This is what I want to do here. This is the copy. And you would actually have to visualize it and write it out. Well, now when you tell AI something, you have to describe it completely differently. You have to tell it like, what's the camera lens? What is the exact criteria you need? And if you have to use specific prompts, or else it doesn't deliver something you want. So then you keep having to refine the way you say things. And after you figure it out, it becomes much, much more efficient. But if you are just starting out and testing, you can go read the crowdsourcing information from the hundreds of thousands of people that are sharing it, but it still takes you a lot of time. So what we're doing is refining that, building it into our system, making it really easy for businesses to just review their ads, and then as simple as clicking approve. Because ultimately, we still want a human to go review stuff because, as you've seen, like there's lots of issues in the whole setup. So humans have to look it over, and as well as the company. And then once they click approve, they're taken to market.
Wow, talk about a fast track, right?
Right.
And in today's rush, right? We're in this like instant economy, right? We want things now. Our customers want things now. Their attention span is the size of, an ant.
Right.
And how do we get in front of them when they're wanting something at 2 in the morning because they can't go to sleep and they just go online, right? And you want that, then they when they wake up at 8 a.m., it's sitting in their in bin, right? Because it's this crazy environment. So we have to, as business owners, we have to run with them. And I think we can't do it the old way. We have to be able to do it using the tools that are available, and even the more creative tools that companies like Omneky have just developed. And I use the term just. You guys have been around for a little while, right?
We have been around since early 2020. So our first revenue month was March 2020, right when there was a huge market shift to digital, when people were locked in their homes for for months.
Right. But
Yeah.
then it's like, hey, if you can survive that, you can survive anything. But you also, it was kind of a blessing of sort because you were forced to do something, and the entire world went to their computers and their phones looking for the stuff that they needed. And here you are launching this fantastic company at a time that just really was serendipitous, kind of, right?
That's right. So the founders knew AI was going to get good enough like soon. You don't know when, but then all of a sudden it just took off like through the technology shifts. Like they had GPT-2 before. So that was like basic writing, copywriting, and it just continues to get better with every forward moving progress. Like GPT-4 will be out soon. Everyone's using ChatGPT, but there's all these other open source companies that are building to move the race faster. You're even seeing the largest companies in the world right now that are jumping in the tech race again, that were semi like kind of in the back burner, and they're letting startups go try to, develop technology. You're seeing a race to everyone trying to implement it. Like you said earlier, the largest companies in the world are implementing AI into their direct work streams like every day right now. I saw HubSpot today was one of them. I was surprised about, where you could go chat to a bot that uses ChatGPT. So everyone's on this huge race to get there as fast as they can. But our founders saw this, and then it just took off at the end of like end of last year. That's driven a lot of potential traffic to Omneky, and then and then now we're building those tools to go be able to catch all video. Videos coming up shortly too. We can use a lot of tools for video, but now you're going to be able to move really fast for like all video ads across channels, things like that.
Oh my gosh, this is exciting and scary at all the same time. So how does you mentioned that your software and your tools can do this. There's got to be some foundations though, right? We need to know certain bits of information before we can tell the AI tool to go out and find this. What do we need to have in play from our own business side before we come there and ready to go?
So there's two different ways that we find success. One is if you have historical data. So our platform looks at data every day. So if you have historical data, the second we plug into the ad platforms, we can get historical data from the last 30 days, 60 days. Usually we look more present because the platforms can change a lot. Now, if you don't, though, the beauty of what AI is allowing you to do now is like, who is your ideal customer profile? Do you have different verticals, different personas that you want to target? Let us know who those are, because right away we can go craft a story that then is used for digital ad creatives in seconds. And it's like you can go get 10 headlines, 10 all within our platform. What's your value prop? Who's the ideal customer? Bing, bang, boom. You have 10 potential storylines you can go use AI image generation to create ads for along with the copy. So historical data is great, but now you can move so fast to go get ready to go to market. And then ideally, then you have to go let people see it and then start learning from the results.
Right. Wow. I'm so excited. This is so exciting. Okay. So really, if we're thinking about it, many of us believe we know our ideal client, but do we really? Do you guys have tools to help us really fine tune that and dig into it? And will you tell me, no, Marcia, that's not deep enough, or no, is that really what you're thinking? Are you going to correct me and put me on the right track?
Well, that's the biggest challenge in working for a startup myself, right? So from early days is like figuring out who that ideal customer is in the value prop. And there's, with my past history was leading direct sales teams where you can go meet with hundreds of customers. We used to visit face to face. That was not as efficient. Now you can go craft an ideal customer profile value prop, an ad, get thousands of people to look at it. And then you just look for certain lead signals, like what is the click-through rate or lead generation from a specific value prop for, and then you base all of that off that. So what's the sales qualified leads, the marketing qualified leads coming from a sample? And you usually need around $3,000 at minimum in data is what we see. Like, you have to have enough people seeing something to begin to optimize. If you spend lower, you're not going to have enough people seeing it, and then we could start to make progress.
Yeah, that was always the challenge that I found was the data spend, right? I'd spend $1,000 and try and get 100 eyeballs on it or whatever that number was. And it was like, well, those aren't the people I want. So then we'd spend a little more to do this. And then we'd spend more to go find the people that we want, because like the channel wasn't, even though I put what I thought to be the most specific, my example, business owners, income range, location, problem, I put the things in there and I get like someone from a foreign country that was an evangelist. And I'm like, how did they get on there? Right. I mean, it wasn't making sense and it was costing me a lot of money. So is there any way to shortcut that or at least be more accurate? Like you said, Apple has like hid all data from the space out there. Other companies are hiding data, Facebook and so on. So we can't really pick who we want. We're relying heavily on the Facebook, the Google, the TikTok, the LinkedIn groups to be able to direct it where they believe that is. And I'm afraid it's still lost.
Two different
getting
ways.
The wrong people.
Yeah, there's two different ways you can look at it. So certain platforms have typically different users that are on it. That's one way. So in one thing Omneky does is we help you follow your customers to any of those platforms and we do all the work for you. So one of the biggest issues is you might be well-versed in Facebook, but you don't understand TikTok or Reddit. Reddit, you can go in with a smaller budget. There's a high intent customer there for a specific product and you can go do a digital ad and you can get, lead gen that way. So you could go test different platforms. The second is you really have to experiment with, you can lock down geographies, but then you really have to get a little bit more technical with some of the farther down the funnel conversion things like your landing page and the criteria you have on your landing page. Like we've gotten really good at figuring out like who our ideal customer profile is and work back. So now we have specific drop downs on our landing page that help send certain customers to different people within our company or a different landing page, depending on it. So you start to filter it differently so that you don't spend time on certain things that you can't focus on right now.
Well, things you can't control, right?
Right.
It's that putting your time and energy and focus on things that you can control, or it's always more important than like me just ranting and raving about the things that I can't control.
Yeah.
So awesome. Wow. You just opened the idea of it's not just the ad, but it's like where you're sending them after the ad and to make the story kind of complete.
Right.
Or complete rather than piecemeal of going, well, this didn't work. Well, where'd you send them? What did you say to them? Right. To make those things work better. But it's amazing that the AI tool can really get in there and help you craft the language that you want, right? I mean, am I correct in there? Not just the visuals, but the copy and everything, right?
Every aspect of it. You can pull out like the top headlines or titles or the value props and then feed that to create a bunch of new versions of it. The second thing is there's different ways to track. I'm trying not to get too technical here because what I've found out is I'm starting to use technical marketing terms too often. And anyways, there's different
Technobabble.
Yeah, there's different conversions like cost per 1,000 people that see something or click-through rate or cost per lead or hundreds of other ones depending on your business model. Each one of those could tell you a different story. And that's kind of what our platform starts to tell us because we can go change a different metric. Like our most important is lead generation. So we can filter across all platforms like what are our best criteria for ads that are generating actual leads. And what you'll see sometimes is that the platforms are potentially showing ads that aren't necessarily generating, the best leads. And what you can do from that is learn and then use that type of ad and then show those differently to each of the platforms. So like you could drop in your top performing lead into one campaign and it distributes a little bit differently than using a bunch. So you can start to hone in on that strategy differently than what you would have done before without the actual like cross platform analytics.
Wow. Amazing. And there are a lot of nuts and bolts and weeds and spirals that you can get caught in here. And that's why I think, no offense. I mean, marketing's got kind of a bad rep, right? They've got that, used car salesman or fearful place because we don't know. We as the consumers, business owners, we don't know what we're really looking at. We just know we want the result. We want the leads. And then from the leads, we want the conversions. And from the conversions, we want, higher sales prices or tickets or, the things that we think about. And we I think the consumer or the business owner needs to truly understand that what is the result you're asking of the marketing to be able to validate whether it worked or not, right?
Right.
And you rarely get a sale from the marketing, but you get an introduction that leads to the sale, right? And the rest of the part is often your job, right?
Yeah, well, the beauty is too when it complements your direct sales or outreach, right? Every single person that clicks on your link or engages with your social media channel, like organically when you're doing posts, you can go retarget those people with ads. And one of the times what we'll see is for our customers and for our own marketing is people will see something 3 or 4 times. We can actually go track exactly how many times they visited our webpage and what they clicked on. And it could be, they could visit it a week, like 1 month before, and then come back later when they see an ad, and then they finally schedule a demo.
Right.
So it takes up to like 7 times before someone sees or hears something before they decide to actually commit to spending time on it. And then who knows?
I wouldn't doubt that it probably takes a lot more because, in years past, it used to have to see a certain number of times before it would click and they would take action. But now we're bombarded,
Yeah.
with ads and marketing in our face on our phones, our computers, our TVs, the radio, if you still listen to radio, and streaming. And, it's like we become numb to it. So I think that it may even take longer. So our job when we're doing these kind of things, correct me if I'm wrong, is to kind of snap me out of the blindness and go, oh, what was that? Right?
Yeah, generate interest with a quick hook, and then continue to drive that through the conversion funnel over the months to come. And then the other interesting thing is emails have worked great, but they are really becoming saturated as well, like hundreds a day. Phone calls, people don't even want to answer them anymore if they answer them. Yeah, so that's why digital becomes even more important today as like the base for your marketing and growth.
I love it. It is, you have to do it. It becomes a necessary evil. And it's funny, I show a graph to my prospective clients talking a little bit about overwhelm. And when I talk about, well, you want to increase your revenue, well, you go to leads. And then from leads, you go to digital marketing. And then pop, there's 30 different things you got to do within there. And it's like, but you need to be there. So what do you recommend is the best path for business owners to really step in to that digital space, come into a safe place, trusted place, and where do you suggest they go?
So your product really needs to be to at least a place where you have customers before you want to start advertising. That's one thing that you want to say, because if you have issues and you're spending the money and your product's not ready yet, it's going to be tough on you unless you have a lot of funds to go build your product around the demand, which could also be a great thing. But you also have to be prepared to spend enough that you have enough people seeing it to figure out what's actually driving the people to your product or service. So like I said, is that minimum investment we still see is between $2,000 and $3,000 in monthly ad spend to have enough people looking at it. And you have to have an idea of who your ideal customer profile is. Mm-hmm. You can go to the masses and pull in some insights over general, but ideally you want to have a little more focused initiative so that you can drive the creative that way. Because creative gets distributed, like I said, to the people that they believe it's a good fit for, depending on what you've clicked on or liked or engaged with. And so those are really the things. You just have to have a starting point of a minimum budget, and then you start working through it. And the last thing, Marcia, that I will say is you have to stay consistent. If it's something you believe it's going to be a fit, you can't start for 2 weeks and stop. It's a constant process. Over the 2 years that we've been advertising for Omneky, I have seen months where we have had under 10 leads come in from digital advertising. I've seen months where we've had over 400. And there's certain times where you're like, what is going on right now? And it's like, it's crazy. You're like, is there something we're doing differently? And you keep testing and testing. And then all of a sudden it's like a light switch where you're overloaded with leads. So if you don't stay consistent and keep learning from who are the people coming to you, who are the most likely to close, how can I refine my sales process so I'm giving a better demo or better consultative selling through the sales discovery process because I'm seeing all these people, you're really losing out if you just stop doing something. Because I see a lot of companies bail too early,
Of course.
you're like, you had something great going here, and we just didn't, we didn't stick with it long enough.
So I think that's the challenge that we as business owners face is it's like, when should I expect results, right? We know that there's that, time horizon of investing and getting data. The answer I kept getting back from my adventure was, oh, well, that's good data. Okay. Well, we're in month 4 now. You're saying that's good data, but we still aren't producing. So I think that's the challenge that, us layman business owners need to know. What should we expect? And yes, so that way it's like all I need is a little win and I'll keep feeding the beast. But when does that little win generally come?
We can see results during the first 60 days. I mean, we typically start with like a kind of a pilot program before. But the thing is, you could see certain drops during the time horizon of a year. Say there's going to be periods of time where you could see potential slow times
Sure.
based on economic conditions or people. And that's the main thing that I'm saying. But we can show results during month 2. It's just you don't want to just give up right away when something changes. You want to understand why. And by understanding the why, you understand your customer better.
And you tweak and you tweak
Mm-hmm.
and you tweak and you tweak. So I think that that's encouraging, right? That in a couple of months we could start to see results. And having here's my other huge piece of advice for business owners. Your jam, right? You know what you do. You're either an attorney or you're a plumber or you run a retail shop or do a digital, software online or whatever it is. You know your thing. This marketing stuff, specifically digital marketing and the way you're explaining it, takes a whole nother team. It's not something that you should probably be doing yourself, right? Leave this to the experts. Like I never tell my customers, don't do your own accounting. Don't do your own accounting, right? I don't think you should be doing your own digital marketing either.
They
Am I
make it
correct in that?
they make it so complicated within the platforms. And that's part of the reason, like one of our biggest goals is building out these integrations with each of the platforms. So we make it really easy where once you review an ad, it automatically goes into the platform, but they try to make it hard for a reason. The other issue with internal is that you might have a expertise in a single domain, like one platform, TikTok, for example, that a lot of times you want to use user generated content and stuff like that, but you might not have the expertise in another one. And what you mentioned earlier is attention spans are so short right now and people are just running around from platform to platform. So you might have a better or lower cost going to one of these other channels that you don't understand, and you don't know how to start there. And each one of them has its own complications. Some are easier than others to learn, but then you have to figure out how do I make a creative for this? How do I get it to be seen by people? Am I doing it right? Things like that. And that's what a technology partner can do, is they have expertise across all those and help you figure out what makes the most sense.
And literally it could take an army of people on your team that do this. You could pay them salaries and
Right.
then pay your ad spend and everything else, or you can shortcut that and go to an expert that understands that also, like, you have amazing technology behind you that for a fraction of the cost, that's all you're focusing on, right? Then as
Right.
the business owner and team, you go back to focusing on what you do best, which is providing your widget and servicing your customer, and leave the other side to the expert and the professional. I mean, it just makes so much more sense to go that path and save yourself the the angst, the headache,
Yeah.
the tears, the crying, the whole problems of why it doesn't work because that's not your thing.
Right. And you have
Wow.
to be able to look at the data and figure out whatever reasons why you can decipher.
Exactly. So when you're working with companies, what kind of companies work best with you? Are there any particular niches that work best?
So we do really well with software as a service, so lead generation, anyone financially, fintech related, e-commerce, and then we have customers across a lot of different markets. So anywhere from early stage startups to growth stage companies that are higher revenue. We have a couple of different solutions across all those.
Oh, nice. So you're
Yeah,
flexible.
we
And
are.
so would a mom and pop store trying to get more foot traffic since everybody buys on Amazon anyways, and they're trying to run a retail store, would they be a good client for you?
So we have a self-service product. I know that we discussed. I brought this up with you before that will be launched within the next 3 months. So that will
Wow.
be the product for that type of business. That will be
Okay.
fully. It will do everything like a small business needs to go create ads and then take them directly into the platforms. Today,
Okay.
our platform like really needs that greater than $3,000 a month in ad spend, and a lot of those probably are under that market
Well,
threshold.
you'd be surprised though. I mean, if your company, if you're doing $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 revenue, um, a $3,000 ad spend is going to help you with the revenue generation because you're not just hanging a shingle out there and going, please come, right? You have to market your business. So,
We definitely can.
yeah,
We definitely can work. And then also we'll have both product offerings. So yes, we would love to
awesome,
talk to
awesome.
anyone and have a discussion and learn about business goals and give you a demo of Omneky.
I love it. I love it. This is really good stuff here. And, short of saying, listeners, oh my gosh, go check them out. It is the way. We have to integrate this into our businesses to increase our profitability and our revenue. And I think this is a natural source of doing it without having to relearn a whole new language and skill set and everything that takes you away from your primary business. Go find the experts that do that. So speaking of that, Matt, where can listeners find out more about you and Omneky?
So a couple of different places. First is go to www.omneky.com, OMNEKY.com. You can schedule a demo with the demo button at the top, and then please put next to your business name, you heard it on Profit with a Plan, so we know where you came
Awesome.
from. Second, you could
Awesome.
reach out to me on LinkedIn, Matt Swalley, or send me an email at matt@omneky.com,
Awesome.
matt@omneky.com.
The name spelling, listeners, is a little off, but you know what? It's creative. And in a world of, oversaturation of companies, there's only so many things that you can do. So make sure we're spelling it right. All that information will be in the podcast notes for you. Is there a fee for the demo?
No fee for the demo. We'd love to talk with you.
I love it. Check it out. I mean, this is so important for your business, and it takes you out of trying to create things and trying to get registered and trying to prompt the AI tool to do what you want and get the results you want. You've got a team that has everything that you need right there. So, wow, I encourage you to go check it out and find out how it can improve your marketing because that's the engine that drives everything else you do. You know, I
That's
don't
right.
know that any company out there is, oh, I'm referral only, and surviving.
Yeah.
Probably not happening well. All right, listeners, I hope you found a couple ideas or thought processes, or you are just excited as I am about this new opportunity of getting AI into your marketing so it can help you be more profitable. And while you're at it, would you like to boost your net profits by 45% in just 30 days? Think it's impossible? I know it's an outrageous claim, but I'm here to prove it to you. Check out my new training called the 30-Day Profit Booster. This quick and easy profit boosting strategy can be done without spending additional money on marketing, hiring additional staff, or working longer hours. Go get some more information at 30dayprofitbooster.com. And Matt and I would love to hear your comments, questions, concerns. Hey, I tried this and this didn't work, or what's the fastest way to? Enter it here in the podcast comments, and Matt and I will keep our eye out, and we will respond back to your comments. So please comment on today's show, and we'll respond back. And while you're at it, subscribe. You don't want to miss future podcasts. And as always, you can catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. We're looking forward to more profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thank you so very much, Matt.
Thank you so much, Marcia. It was such a pleasure.